Still muted. Still muted. Can you hear me, Paul? Am I muted? No. You're muted. You want to be muted?
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Good. So, we got any new people today? Do you know?
Not on the first page. Anybody want to wave their hands?
So Kim R. Nice to see you, Kim. What brings you to this meeting?
Well, I've been listening to you for a few years. I've been listening to Tony Parsons. I've been sitting in satsangs since about 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And I thought it would be nice to sit on the Zoom meeting tonight with you to see if you can get me some energy.
Get you some energy.
Send me some, bit of do with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Tuning to you. That's why I'm here.
Whatever I send you comes from you anyway, eh?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's like letting out homing pigeons. They always go back to home. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I'd really like to. It's nice to meet with other people. There's only a couple of people I know who live in my country, who live around the area, who are sort of interested in non-duality for what it stands for. So it's nice to meet and sit in a space where I feel that we're all here, that we've got things in common or whatever. It's just nice to come together and feel the space. Yeah.
Well, after the meeting, people stay on too. So
do they?
There's fellowship after the meeting. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Just
nice
if you
to
like.
meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
To meet you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Oh, there's Joyce. Joyce is here, and Natalie. Natalie, yeah, looks different every time we see her there. We got Mary G and Sandara.
How about Sonia?
Sandara Baba,
Sonia,
aka Jack. Yeah. There's Keith from you're not in Winnemucca anymore.
You know Sonia?
Well then, you got to put Boise, I guess now. You got it, Keith in Winnemucca.
Oh, that's right. It still says that. Okay.
This is the lie we always start out from. Yeah.
The false assumption of Winnemucca.
Why would we want to start talking about getting to Boise? Because you're not in Winnemucca. You're already in Boise. That's how it goes. Seriously, that's one of the flavors of the message. Is here you are sitting in Los Angeles trying to figure out how to get to Los Angeles. Yeah. And any getting to Los Angeles would reinforce that you're not in Los Angeles. How are you going to win? That's the whole conundrum that non-duality puts in a stark relief. Yeah. The conundrum is if we are what we're looking for, then the looking for it would be a certain a disservice in a sense. Yeah. It's all based on that premise. You are what you're looking for. Yeah. If you don't believe that, then look away. And there's tons of ways to look to improve you're looking for. Yeah, there are. But if you have the premise, if somehow or another you were open to it, or life led you to be open to it by trying to look for what you are for a long time, and then having the failure of that turned on your idea of self and feeling like you didn't do enough. I should have meditated longer. If I only would have kissed the big toe of the master, I only got this pinky toe, and all these things. And then there's just a constant beating up. And you can see it happens in this community with certain words like awakening and enlightenment. In most cases, we would have been better off if we had never heard those terms. Now that seems weird, yeah? If awakening is our state, and then the enlightenment would be the absoluteness of that state, why would hearing about it make it worse? Yeah? Like if you're awake, if you're inherently awake, and then you hear that you're inherently awake, why does that seemingly make it worse? Because something's claiming to be the hearer of that, yeah, and wants to determine that you're not awake so that it can beat you up. And in a sense, the beating up of self by self reinforces the selfing. You know, it's just, that's the way it goes. Now, hopefully you've been through enough, you've been blamed enough for your spiritual inadequacies, and you've come to a point where maybe you fall upon, you know, you're in the vast ocean of Vajra yoga, Vajra whatever, Buddhism, and then you run into Dukkha, you know, the great perfection, and they start talking about the relaxed awareness. And why don't you just lay on your ground out in the lawn and look up at the empty sky? Yeah, it's probably going to be much more valuable than reading a 500-page book. What? Yeah, and why did they talk about relaxed awareness? Relaxed awareness wouldn't be a form of looking, would it? It would be just more like a gazing or a panoramic view, yes? So they go relaxed awareness. What's relaxed awareness? I mean, there's just awareness, but what we call awareness, when it's focused and attempted to be like a laser beam to a target, is the obscuring, because you are what you're looking for. That's why. You don't need a vast explanation. It always goes to the premise of non-duality, is you are what you're looking for. So, and this explains why looking for it hasn't worked. It wasn't because you didn't do enough, or you forgot to do what you were supposed to do, or whatever. It didn't mean all the things we thought it meant. It's just like an experience I had with recovery. The way the head dealt with being a fucking active alcohol addict and alcoholic, it blamed a lot of the behavior on the cocaine use, yeah? So then I had this belief that if I stop doing cocaine, I'm not going to behave the same way. Well, what happened? I stopped doing cocaine and I behaved the same way. So I was wrong. So there was a basic premise that was really, really seemingly very influential, important, was totally ass backwards. Cocaine had nothing to do with it. The cocaine use was trying to get out of the prior conditions and circumstances. It wasn't creating the circumstances and the conditions. Yes, this is the same thing. So, all right. You are what you're looking for. Or as Ramana says it in so many different ways, but the one way that, and I can't find any of his books anymore, the one way I remember that I use here is there's this presupposing of a non-existent thing. Really, the presupposing is the non-existent thing is existing. It's actually the cause of its existing. Yeah. All right. So in that in place, the non-existent thing probably starts going into what Buddhism would call dukkha, you know, a vague suffering and a dissatisfaction. And it sees that, you know, its managing isn't working out and it can't control feelings and thoughts and other people and reactions to life. So basically, it wants to get relief. Yeah, not seeing that it's the seeming source of the problem. So it wants, and it has an idea of salvation. So now it sets off on a course to attain salvation as the non-existent thing. You see there's a little problem there? Yeah. So these assumptions are the whole basis of non-duality. if you believe this thing is truly you, and it's causing its own activity, it's its own life source, and it's what's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. It's the doer of every action and the thinker of every thought and the feeler of all the feelings. Then, I would go to, the street of skillful means, because you're going to need a lot of skillful means to deal with all the shit that's going to come up, which you're not going to realize why it's coming up. You'll think it's them or that or this when it's actually us. Yeah. So basically, all right. So presupposing, and what pre means before. Yes. So let's say if I assume something, but when I assume it, the assumption has been there all along. Yeah. You see? So if I assume something right now, but it has a feeling of being pre-assumed, it means the assumption has always been there. So this is what happens with this idea of being the non-existent thing, the body representing it. Let's call it self. This every time the mental state is producing the sense of self, it says it's already a self. It's not ever, you never catch it in the becoming a self. It's always, you already are one, yes? And suddenly, for many of us, there was only one avenue to try to get out of that, and that avenue was drugs and alcohol. So we tried to get out of self. Yeah. What happened? We got caught in an incredible conundrum, which is self can't get out of self. All right, but all the while self is trying to get out of self, I feel I'm one of that aspect of self. I call it Paul. So Paul makes complete sense that Paul wants to get out of self, and Paul may put up with any consequence tomorrow just to get out of self for a little while. Yeah? Yeah? And so he'll read this spiritual statement, self can get out of self, may understand it, but it never applies to its basic activity. You see that. You don't hear self can't get out of self. You see it. Yeah? You recognize the statement because at one point, Paul getting out of self, suddenly there's a flash, Paul, aka self. Yeah? You see you're not that, and you're not that is trying to get out of you're not that. So it always goes back to the same supposition or the same assumption that's true, is you are what you're looking for. The seeker is the sought. Yeah? You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha because you are the Buddha. Yeah? It's not like, oh, you'll be punished, Jimmy, if you try to use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. No, you are the Buddha. You are the light. You are the mind. Not as Paul, you see. This is what drives Paul, what I'm not crazy in spirituality. Paul now hears something else that seems like it's really piling on. You mean I'm the Buddha as Paul? Jesus Christ, I'm going to go on a 2-year retreat. I better start meditating like 15 hours a day because I got to convince myself by Paul's behavior that I'm the Buddha. No, it's terrible. It's like, it's worse than if you never heard it before. But when you hear that from the Buddha, when you hear the Buddha can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, and you hear it as the Buddha, it explains everything. Yeah, I swear to God, it explains a huge amount. Yeah, and then he triples up, which is beautiful. He could have just walked out of the room there, but he knows what we're up against, which is this repetitive habit of selfing. So he says you can't use mind to seek mind, like big M mind. You can't use light to seek light. So he hopes you've been knocked out and you stay down for the count. Yeah. All right. So, and then when you're on the mat and you're knocked out, basically, he comes over and whispers to you, whatever can be perceiving cannot be perceived. So then you get up, but the fucking idea of being Paul is knocked out. Yes? Fight's over as it had never begun, basically. You weren't that got knocked out. You're the Buddha. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I don't mean your image of a Buddha and based on what it did or didn't do. I mean the nature of us is the nature of Buddha. Yeah. But you can't approach it that way because there's an act of claiming, an act of being identified as something else that rushes up and claims every message that you're the Buddha and hijacks it and implies it and gives meaning to that message from Paul, which neuters the message because the message that you're the Buddha is meant to go to the Buddha, not to be waylaid by Paul. Yeah? And it's not Paul, it's selfing. Yeah? So this is why we share, so that you can see the activity that keeps implying what you're not, as you. Yeah? All right. If someone's here new, just take these descriptions, and they're not of you, they're about what you're not. There's a mental process, an activity that's presenting life based on there's a you. Yeah? You want to call it self-centeredness. And its movement is whatever is happening that it's brought into contact with through consciousness, us, it claims to reinforce and imply the same message. So all the doing is used to imply the doer, all the hearing is used to infer the hearer, all the seeing is used to infer the seer. Yes? And it's mechanical. It's not personal. And really it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. You're not going to stop it. Yeah. You're going Yeah. And when you see it, something's going to come through sooner or later, hopefully sooner, and there's going to be a recognition that there's nothing that's being produced by that activity. There's just an activity that says its products has already been produced. Yeah? That's what it does. The selfing always infers that you already are a self. And the only way when we look at it from that way, then there's a drive or a desire to get out, which is actually a bigger in self than anything else, really. Because all the movements to try to get out of it reinforce the idea you're in it. Yes? And this is what Ramana says after he makes the statement, presupposing a non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. So let's say we're not seeing any of that, right? But it's happening. Then he says, if that's what's happening, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? Those are the shoes we put out. Yeah. If they fit, wear it. Yeah. And more will be revealed for sure. Yeah. And in a weird way, how I find out what I already am is by seeing what I'm not, tell you the truth. So the finding out is immediate. It takes absolutely no time because you are it. Yeah. But it sort of seems to be connected with seeing what I'm not. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You ready for hands? Anybody want to raise their hand? Gary. Hi, Gary.
Unmute. Hi, Paul.
I can hear you, bro. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to share. I don't know what this is about exactly. Relaxed awareness or something. It's like I sat down this morning and I was going to, I thought, meditate. And there was something, not right about me meditating. And what came to me was this. It was there's this like condensing that I'm going, I'm like trying to concentrate to get an answer to some question that I don't understand even. And it's like, I guess I'd call that selfing. It's like trying to create a self in order to understand how to get out of a self. And it's crazy and didn't work. And after a while, I got this image of like, it's sort of like, what do you call it? Like, it would be like a tornado or a cyclone being created to discover why there's so many cyclones going on. Or,
Yeah.
So I'm becoming the thing that's obscuring in order to understand how to get out of obscuring. And
Yes.
it got to be really funny after a while. It's like, a cyclone. I'm trying to understand why there's so much damage going on, or a drill, trying to understand why there's so many holes in the ground. And after a while, I guess that would be what relaxed awareness is when you see that all that activity of what you're not is what's obscuring the relaxed awareness. That anyway.
Well, it can be. Yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is, the how to get out, there is no way to get out of what you're not in. See, this is one of the things the head runs into. Its logic comes from a split, a dualistic split. So it believes there's in and an out completely. So, and it definitely believes its diagnosis of what's happening now is I'm in something I want to get out of. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, while it's saying that, let's say about a room to another room, it's also implying that to itself. So it wants to get out of itself as itself. Yeah. You see?
It's crazy.
Which only reinforces the idea you're in it. So this isn't about hearing this and then trying to stop it. It's about seeing it, yeah, and recognizing it's not of you, tell you the truth. This isn't about, oh, now I've got more information, I can really get out of it with this information. No, it's not about that at all. You hear this and then you see this, yeah? You hear the message and then you see it. Yeah, yeah.
Then it kind of cuts
So that
the
which
leg
wants
down.
to get out, that which wants to get out believes it was in. You're neither of that, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So, and how can you see it because you're not it? That's how you can come to an understanding of it because you're not it. You can't understand what you are because you are that, but you can understand what you're not. You can. You can recognize it. Yeah?
Yeah, you can see that.
And then you come in, then you'll see, sooner or later, there's a critical mass where you realize the futility of Gary trying to get out of Gary. Yeah, it's just, and then somehow one of the byproducts is completely all right to be Gary just as he is because you're not. Tell you the truth. Yeah. And if you're flipping out and causing social unrest and shit, Gary could be fixed on those qualities. Yeah. But the idea of Gary being like a chariot of the gods that has to be like spiritually oiled all day for that giant transcending journey is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, Gary's
Like
not
when I
gonna
was
make it.
starting this meeting, do you think I was taking care of spirit? No, I was taking care of my ass. I got pillows. I put it here, put it for the back, basically. Let's be honest. The spirit takes care of itself. The body may need some fucking maintenance, you know?
Mm.
See, the thing is, the quickness of the selfing. See, I did this thing, I felt this, it was this identification or this thinking I was a body that was at the root of a lot of stuff. So I was involved with the course at the time. So I was very keen on one of the lessons, which was, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am as God created me, something like that. So I figured I should just basically chant that, a lot, and keep reminding myself that I'm not a body. But all that really was happening was the only thing that wants to get out of a body is a body. So every time I was chanting, I'm not a body, that chanting was being claimed as Paul doing it as a body. So that chanting I'm not a body was reinforcing Paul as a body. See, this is why we share these things, because if you go into your little life, you have all these x-rays. You've just misread them. This information based on non-duality allows you to read the x-rays. You'll see that's exactly what I have been doing. I've been trying to get out of self as self. That's exactly what I was doing. I was using the Buddha to get out of to try to seek the Buddha. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then instead of trying to stop doing that, you realize you weren't the I that was doing it. There was just doing of it, yes? That's how it goes. It's not like, oh, now I've got the information. This is a call to arms where I'm enlisting in the non-dual army. They're not going anywhere. There's no water, there's not the big front, There's no battle. There's no enemy to extinguish, yeah? What was it? We saw the enemy and the enemy was us. Exactly. And then there's a third part and it ain't, yeah? So you see the enemy, you see it as us, and then no, and I'm not that, yeah? It's like the same thing with the old Zen thing. First there is the mountain, then there is no mountain, and then there is a mountain, yeah? Now I would like to put another statement before that, yeah? First there is no mountain. That's the fact. Then there is a mountain. Then there isn't a mountain, and there's the mountain again. Hallelujah. Who cares? Because the fact is there is no mountain. It isn't like the fact was there's a mountain. I did a lot of shit, and I saw there is no mountain, but unfortunately, I started seeing everything as the mountain again. No, that's what happens. Yeah, in this dreaming. But the fact is there is no mountain.
Yeah, that's the
They
first
forgot
fact.
that when they translated it, they forgot the first one. There is no mountain. They only gave us 3. It was a 4 stanza. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
It misled a lot of people. First there is a mountain. No, first there is no mountain. And then there's the appearance of a mountain. And then you believe you did all this shit to have the appearance not to appear. And then you have total faith that you did it. And then suddenly you're super bummed out when the mountain appears again. Yeah? But in fact, that's all the shenanigans of the dreaming. The fact is there is no mountain. That should allow you to travel lighter through the appearance of the mountain, the disappearance of the mountain, and the appearance of the mountain again. Yeah? Because the fact is there is no mountain. Yeah?
The first fact.
Who wants to, if it was all about who wants to arrive at the futility of our trying to get out of something? What allows the futility to truly be felt is when you recognize you're not that. Yeah? You recognize what I'm taking myself to be cannot get out of itself. it's incredible news, except if you're thinking you're that. Then it's like a bummer, complete bummer. Because mostly what we're living here, because we're dragged in this experience of time, is hope. And a lot of it's false hope, you know. We're hoping that we're going to transcend this and we'll be on the eternal golf course of heaven, you know, having a hole in one. That ain't happening. Yeah? So it's nice. Let's get on with it. Because if you could have gotten out, you would have already. Yeah? You've been trying for years.
At least 70.
You bought so many maps. None of them have brought you to the destination you want to arrive at. And there was one thing that was constant with all those destinations. You were there. So it's about time we just see through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see it. Now you're starting to see you can see this shit from the consequential level, or you can see it on the blueprint level.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling heavy has a lot to do with not seeing it on the blueprint level and realizing things are fucked after you've been fucked. Yeah. Yeah. This is about recognizing what you're not. So the interest and attention doesn't propel it, yeah, and all the thoughts about it into actions out here that will tattoo you. Yeah. So you may get a 30-year prison sentence, and maybe that will lead you to somewhere great. Who knows? But hey, I'd rather not have a 30-year prison, sentence.
Indeed. Yeah.
This is just That who wants to get out of the body is a body. Yeah. This is the dilemma. If you say to someone, there is no body, it's hearing it as a body. Yeah. You have to share the warnings about the quickness of how the system reinstates itself, because it's an incredible system. It's implying, it says, is already so. Yeah. It's implying you're a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. It's implying that, but when it's implying it, it's assuming it's already so. It's supposing it's already so. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Tricky.
Yeah. That's why getting out of an imaginary in is part of the in a sense. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. The story sort of loops back on itself.
Of course it does. Of course it does, because you're the character and you're the thing that's writing about the character. Yeah? In a world of duality, there is no one self. There's aspects of selfing. Yeah? There's the policeman and the thief aspect of it. Yeah? So a large part of you that wasn't under a lot of intense surveillance now is, yeah? Because you've seen there's some story that's the reason why you fucked up and didn't get what you wanted and lost what you had, yeah? So now that idea of self has been objectified, and it's being reviewed and looked at from a subjective form of selfing. That's why people believe ignorance is bliss, yeah?
Yeah.
Because what gets even worse is the subjective selfing about the object self. Yeah. When you were a kid, you didn't have much of when you were a kid, you were a kid. There wasn't that surveillance until about 4 or 5 or 6, when it started the brain developed and became more extensive in the selfing. And then suddenly you're going into first grade and you're like a fucking nervous wreck. When while you were in kindergarten, everything was fucking great. Yeah, now you walk into class, you think everyone's thinking of you. I never thought that when I was in kindergarten. I was just playing around. We all took naps and fucked around all day. Suddenly the head gets developed, and now I'm under a spotlight all day that I can't take the pressure. So I'm looking for relief when I'm like 7 or 8. It took me to about 12 where I got my hands on alcohol, yeah, and I could change how I felt quickly by drinking. And I wanted to keep changing how I felt. And so I went into drugs and I went into narcotics because that was the quickest way to change how I felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gave it the best I could possibly give it, and I did it as perfectly as I possibly can. And you would have expected I would have transcended this condition, but I didn't, because you can't get out of an imaginary place. I wasn't where I thought I was, you see?
Mm.
I've always been in LA. I've never been in fucking Boise. Yeah. Nice to see you,
Yeah.
Gary. Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Gary, and for the drill and cyclone imagery. That was fun. No one else has their hand up. I thought somebody did.
Well, what would want to get out of being a drill but a drill? Yes? Obviously.
A drill that does things that shouldn't be a drill. Otherwise, it's having fun. Oh, Sundara does have his hand up. He said he wasn't going to do that.
Everything's changing, Mike, constantly. Hi, Paul.
Hey, bro.
Hey, it's great to see you, man. So I was thinking while you were talking, a few questions. Is every spiritual path, does it lead to surrender? And
Didn't hear the first few words of that, so say it again about the
okay,
path.
okay. Is every spiritual path, does it lead to surrender? And,
No,
okay. And is non-duality a path?
no.
Okay. That was the shortest answer I've ever heard you give.
Well,
Because it seems like non-duality itself um, uh, is a path in itself. In other words, I understand the message, which is now, right? That's the message now, right? And but sometimes we have to hear it a lot of times uh, before we can
and
get.
where do you hear it? When do you hear it?
When do I hear now?
Yeah,
Now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the continued talks are uh, I'm lost now. Is just reinforcement of the now. Is that correct?
No, it's a reinforcement of what you're not.
Okay.
You want to see what you're not. Yeah. See, when you're speaking from what you're not, the now is framed by a there and a then, yes? Because the now then is seen as an aspect of time. Yeah, it can't help itself because it's a product of time. So that's how it looks at it. So then in that situation, the now can seem to be really valuable because maybe it'll be better than yesterday and tomorrow. But the now that's always now is never going to be recognized as now. It just is. Yes? As a basis, this now doesn't look any different than any now I've always been in. Really. Yeah? What's appearing in it, what's on the surfaces of things, Yes, they display a lot of difference, but they also display a lot of patterns actually over time. And there's a lot of recognition of things by seeing the patterns of what comes and goes. But that which is. Yeah. See, like that statement, be here now, in a weird way, how can you not be? Being here is now. It's not an order. It's not like you're being somewhere else and then, hey, be here now. Yeah, you're always being here now. You may not think so, but you are. That's the beauty of the message. It's not like, hey, you, be here now. No. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking or other people thinking. This whole thing is being here now. That's what it is. The then is being here now. The there is being here now. Last week is being here now. Next week is being here now. There's no escaping from being here now. So if the path is to lead us to being here now, get off. It's already succeeded. You're here. You're being here now. Can you imagine that you may be on the path that has already succeeded? Like the moving sidewalk at the airport brought you to the gate. Gate 58. Now that signals you to get off. Maybe we're all the expression of a successful path. We use being here now to arrive at being here now. How long did that take? The success of any path is before the path, obviously. When something dawns on you, it sort of informs you it's always been this way. So basically, was there anything other than be here now? It sure looks like there is. Yes, it sure does. It looks like it. It may smell like it, but it ain't it. Yeah. It looks like you're fucked, and then you see the person 3 weeks later and they're unfucked. How did that happen? Yeah. It looks like you're lost, and then suddenly you're found again. Yeah. Has any thought ever not been here now? Has any feeling not been here now? Has any seeing not been here now? Has anything ever escaped being here now? Has it? Why we have the meetings is the fact is being here now. The assumed fact is we could be somewhere else. So we don't want to debate the fact of being here now from the assumed fact. We want to see the assumed fact from the fact of being here now. Yes? You see the difference? We don't want to have a big, all right, 5 hours and then the person's convinced they're being here now. All the while being here now. No, we want to bypass the middleman and middlewoman. Let's just question it and see. Hey, if I'm not that, for some reason I find I have no interest in arriving at being here now because I'm completely clear I never left being here now. So let's what happens? I don't know. Find out. I'm in Saturday in Northern California. Yeah. Speaking to an iPad. Seeing people who I have a fondness for, yet I've never even met, really, literally. We're being here now in Ireland. We're being here now down in LA. We're being here now in Northern California through the wonders of technology. Yeah. But there's no way any of this thing would be being here now if there wasn't a being here now. And what you're not is chock full of there and then. So its being here now is dominated by yesterday and tomorrow. His is being here now and now what? Because it's driven by time. It can't stand the pause. All right, I'm being here now. Now what? All right, well, maybe I'll just become more here now. All right, go ahead. But what happens is you play, it's Russian roulette because you're going to feel like you're less here now most of the time. You'll have those peak moments, I'm really here now, and then you get a call from your ex, and then, ooh, there you go. So you're playing with fire, and you're going to get burnt, yeah?
So what's here now is what we are and what we're not. Is that a true statement, you think?
No, there's an appearance. There's a lot of appearances. It's not end. It's what we are, what is, and then there's a lot of appearances going on, yeah? Which you could define as an act of dreaming, let's say. An act of dreaming with no actor or no dreamer, just dreaming, yeah? So yes. The particulars of the appearance is definitely not what we are. What's appearing is what we are. But the particulars of the appearance is not.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is what happens with non-duality. If you I'm always interested in the words path, because what would be on a path would be a body, yes? Does a
Yes.
spirit take a path? I mean, really? Does it walk on a sidewalk or, yeah? So there's, and I reached the spiritual mountain. What reaches a spiritual mountain? What reaches the top of a spiritual mountain? A body, yes? The whole idea of a lot of spirituality is framed as a body, yeah? What has the dark night of the soul? Yeah, that's a complete dualistic event, yeah? I'm saying the best you can do, you can't vanquish what isn't so, but there can be a loss of interest in it, for sure. Yeah? And I would think the real value is a loss of interest, not in any sense that you had a great victory over the foe or over the dark force or enemy. I would just lose interest in it, yeah? And you can't produce that losing of interest. It comes from a recognition that it's not you, yeah? Because we're driven here to be interested in whatever has to do with us. And us as this little singular, long-lasting, independent story, yeah? That gets broken. And then the interest and attention that was sort of wedded to this slavery gets released, yeah? And you don't direct it. It just goes where it goes, and you find out where it went. by it going. Yeah. So now that idea of having to hyperventilate and meditate for 4 hours to get a sense of presence, the sense of presence is always available at all times. It's like being a fish in the water. Yeah. What does it afford you as what you're not? It allows what you're not to travel lighter. That's all. And what you're not, that's the wish it truly had, but it couldn't get it. It couldn't produce it. It can't arrive there.
Right.
But it can express it. Yeah. It can observe it. And in that expression, observing in this game of duality, it has the great, great gift of gratitude and honor. It feels as if something other than itself has done for it what it couldn't do for itself. Yeah. What an incredible attitude to have.
It's exactly how I feel, Paul.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I'm really hoping to get across. It's not the particulars. See, I'm sitting here and I have a little job to do. If you were hanging out with me, I wouldn't be going through what everyone says. But here, you want to be as clear as you can be, yeah? And so, but it's the intimacy of the relief that can be found by entertaining these ideas, yeah? And to see that relief isn't conditioned on anything. It's there, available, yeah, right where you are, no matter where that is. And it has no requirements necessary. You're the one who has the requirements. Yeah. And what follows, in my experience, has been an acceptance of what I could not accept in the past. Yeah. The self that was observing the other self had no acceptance for either of those aspects. The judge or that which was being judged, they were both fucking rigid and brittle and arthritic. Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything close to how I feel about things now, which I feel is a field of an acceptance that allows shit that I used to try to avoid to come and go and everything else. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping to communicate. It's not that you to have a very unique, clear understanding of non-duality. You know, I wanted to see what it leads to. Yeah. Which is not an acquired or a one acceptance, but an acceptance just as things are. Yeah. And I'll tell you, it just allows a lot of springs you don't even know are so coiled to uncoil. Yeah. You really enjoy the richness of a day because at this moment, nothing is more important than what I'm seeing. Yeah. What I'm feeling, what I'm tasting, what I'm touching. You never get gypped. You never get gypped. You're there when sleeping. You're there awake. And what you're not is just a dualistic aspect of what you are. Appearing in duality, there's what we are and what we're not. Yeah. Only in this dualistic expression is that the case. Yeah. So I found in my own experience the futility of looking for what I am from what I'm not. I don't need any more research. I saw the fallacy of it and the futility of it completely. Yeah. But I know all the while, every message, everything that was seen and felt and tasted was claimed to reinforce the idea of what I'm not. At that same moment, The real being here now is not bookended with yesterday and tomorrow. It's always available at all times. And therefore, it has heard everything. It has seen everything. It's the seeing of everything. So, recognizing how the message used to be misdirected caused it not to be misdirected. Yeah? And it got through. The Buddha heard the message. Hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. It heard it, clear as day. And it ended something. And that something that got ended, that little tangent of possibilities, which were all fucking insane, got cut off. And there wasn't another appendage grown. Yeah? And then another one. Yeah? You can't be out of the moment because you can't be in the moment, or no, basically it's insane to believe you're out of the moment because you can never not be in the moment. They cut that appendage off. Yeah. And then basically these little insane ideas got cut at the root and they never grew back. Yeah. And it cleared shit up. Yeah. And man, I was always curious and looking and looking and looking. I have huge curiosity, but it's not a form of looking. Yeah. And I didn't bring about these effects, but I can observe them and I can express them to my friends here with the hopes that this I feel, all of this I'm saying is rooted to this basic message. Yeah? To be clear, because there's an activity of a mental strain that has an idea of us and is very quick to reinforce that idea. And it will promote that idea, and it'll even be that idea that's claimed to hear about any other ideas. And so, first, I heard satsangs, and then I realized the real importance of a satsang is warnings, really, to share about how the mental state regroups, yeah, and how it easily claims where and what it had nothing to do with, yeah. And so, if you recognize it, if you get an understanding, it allows you to recognize it while it's doing its activity. And when you recognize it, something changes. It does. Yeah. And then suddenly there's a migration of interest and attention, not by distraction or by avoidance, but it just moves. Yeah. From that. And then the funny thing is that does a whole lot better with a lot less attention and interest. It does. I swear to God. I just don't think this idea can hold the weight of being the center of the universe. I don't. It's just it doesn't have it. It's not, it's much rather be like we say in recovery, being an average person among average people. It thrives in that situation. Being the center of the universe is way too much for it. Yeah. Yeah. And you can see people, the neuroses that people demonstrate now, scary, really. Yeah. They've just been dwelt on too long by an insane, the guy or the woman that was directing the spotlight just fixated on this poor character, and it's just cooked. It really is. It's just cooked out. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, man. Well, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Sundara. Are you ready, Paul?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And Keith is the reclining Buddha right now. Can you see him?
What's he doing?
Sorry to disturb your, or not to disturb your peace, Keith. Stuart from the UK.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Stuart. Trying to see you.
Good to see you. I just wanted to say I think the message is getting through, but I just want to is it kind of like the old Zen thing where you're walking through the mist and you know, before you realize it, you're soaked through with it? Is that kind of the way the message
Yeah,
gets through?
it can.
Okay.
The point is, the message gets out, not more. It doesn't get through.
Yeah.
The message is already there. It gets
Yeah.
out. You're trying to bring the message in as part of denying the message is already in.
Yeah.
It really wants to get out, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's what I feel.
Anything can trigger it, you know? Hmm?
I feel it's kind
Anything
of
can trigger it,
seeping
you know?
in.
It could be a. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's seeping out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
we're used to looking at a picture with the art, you know, the painting on the canvas, but this is more bleeding through the canvas, and then you observe the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you realize you had nothing to do with you, and, a huge pressure is off. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think coming from a background of spiritual practice, it, you know, there's a feeling that I need to do something, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a
Yeah.
habit. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
But if you don't, in a way, again, what's noticing that is what we are. You know, it notices
Yeah.
those thoughts, and you know, in expression, what we are is never completed, but in essence, is completely what is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you see the head. The head is a prisoner of its own imaginings. You know, time. The strong belief in linear time is sort of like the whip of the slave master, really. You know, most of us believing we're the doer believe we have to show our worth by doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that goes overboard, and then you get captured in that whole mechanism, seemingly. And now you have to be doing something, or you don't feel okay. Man, that's a slavery. Yeah. And then it gets more specific. You have to be doing something spiritual to feel okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's a lot of dissemination and washing dishes, meditating much higher, much loftier. Let's avoid washing the dishes. You know what I mean? It's just insane.
Yeah. It's the old
Yeah.
cycle. Mm.
Yeah, and this doesn't mean the cycles won't continue. You just, there'll be a lot less of you on it or in it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 Well.
Yeah. I did this, I got it. I was really driven to get out of something since I was young. Yeah. Because I felt there was the way the system had me in a sense was I was bad, and it was like seen as a moral condition, like I purposely am bad. Yeah. And so there was an irritable restlessness and discontent that I was trying to get out of this fucking constantly occurring sense of foreboding or not being good enough. So I did, I tried a lot. I was brought to many things like reading science fiction, Edgar Allan Poe, all this stuff. Then, sports and going in the ocean, everything, and then alcohol and drugs. And then when I got into alcohol and drugs, that failed. I went into spirituality. Spirituality seemed to fail. I went back to alcohol and drugs. And basically, all of those movements, the one theme was trying to get out of me as me. Yeah. And I wasn't aware of that until I became aware of it. And when I became aware of it, all those drives to get out stopped, and then I realized I wasn't in. Because the trying to get out doesn't bring you to the realization you're not in. It doesn't. It's another addiction. It's another slavery, I feel. Yeah. So,
You're right. Mhm.
yeah. And then, my sights have been lowered greatly. I'm just looking for, I hope there's a cookie in the kitchen when I get off the Zoom. Yeah, that's basically my goal for the day.
Yeah.
I
Short
don't
word
really,
carry water, isn't it?
yeah, all that stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's cool.
All right. Hey, thanks, Paul.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I hope I see you again, Stuart.
Yeah, you will. Cheers. Thank you.
Good, good. Cheers.
Thanks, Stuart. Philip. So,
There's Macaulay. Hey, Macaulay, how are you? Nice to see you, honey. Yeah. Yes, who's next?
Philip. He's still muted.
Oh, Philip. Philip from Brisbane. All right, Philip.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Philip, how are you?
Nice to see you. I guess really you've answered my question, which is kind of ironic that I thought of a question a while back and you sort of answered it. But I just sort of in the seeing there was this kind of relief and this sense of traveling lighter. And it sort of, I don't know when that happened. I can't remember. It just seems to be how it is. I had my partner listen in here, and she said, it's all well and good, the message, but Paul doesn't seem to push me off the edge. He doesn't seem to say, well, how do you see? How does seeing come about? Is it just serendipity? Is it just luck of the draw? Or I can't remember. In the seeing, it's like it just came about, and it just seemed so natural. Yet the selfing, the meanness, still running, and it doesn't seem to need the identity of a kind of separate autonomous entity, which I thought was its whole purpose. Which is kind of like, but it's still kind of running, and the mental state is still wanting to make something of this. Is still trying to make it special. It's trying to kind of, especially when I try and relate this to other people, like the message. I don't have the skill of the message, and I'm compelled to come here every week because I love this community. I love this. It's kind of like, it feels like it's my place, and even though, as you say, the message never changes, it's still, each week it's still kind of fresh. But I guess my question is, and this is not, I'm not a teacher, I'm not even a good conveyor of this, because I kind of don't, I guess to a point where it kind of just shatters. It has no focus. But I mean, in the presentation of the message, I mean, I was talking to a fellow who was in a Zen monastery for a couple of years, and he said, that they would meditate all day, and I sort of questioned him on what that was for. What is there a process that's needed? I mean, I can't remember what happened to me. I know people have stories about walking through parks and things like that, or kicking a stone or something, a moment of clarity and so forth. But it seems like it's the great elusive kind of joke in a way, that how do you, we come, if you come to this to hear this message, is that enough? Is there more required? how do you,
Yeah.
what's the next step? Is there a next step? I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that, even though I can, yeah.
Well, I don't want to answer that, actually.
Yeah.
Uh, the faith I have is in the hearing of it.
Mm.
Yeah. The seeing is always available at all times. It's not something that you're going to arrive at. Yeah.
Mm.
You may end up having a story that you arrived there, but in fact, I don't believe you arrived there.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, to me, I like bringing people to the cliff and then realizing you're not the person on the cliffs, so why not back away? Jumping off the cliff isn't going to do anything anyway. So yeah, I'd rather have you find out how it works.
Sorry?
Yeah, hear it, hear the
Yeah.
message, and then see all the considerations that arise in one, and maybe hold them as not you. Yeah,
Mm.
so you're not bound by their considerations. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. We're it. We're it. We're the dreaming of it all, and as the Course would say in lesson 2, we're giving everything all the meaning it has, which is a pretty comprehensive statement.
Mm.
So if you give meaning to that which uh, needs no improvement, that there's a need to improve it, that's what you'll have to live through until you see that it's baloney or it fails, and that's how it will be successful for you. Yeah? So I'm not trying to take anyone's requirements away. I want you to see they're not yours. Really. So you're not beholden to them. Yeah.
It
I
just seems,
ever hear you've heard the Heaven's Door story, right? The Heaven's Door story
sorry?
that I the Heaven's Door story. Have
Oh,
you
yeah.
heard that one? Yeah,
No.
so
Oh, yeah,
basically
yeah, I have, yeah. Yeah.
basically what you're saying is sort of captured in that. Yeah.
Mm.
So obviously God tells Paul he can't come in, and Paul takes it personally. And then he finally realizes he's not Paul. He knocks on the door, God opens, and he asks God, can I come in? And God says Paul can't come in because it was just stating a fact. And then Paul, aka not Paul, walks right through.
Mm.
What kept him away from heaven wasn't God or heaven, it was his requirements. He thought, he was identified as Paul, and Paul can't come in.
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't personal, but he took it personal. Yeah, this is what happens. You're
Yeah.
going to realize sooner or later it has all to do with you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like you're the light, you're the finger puppets, you're the one that's watching the finger puppets, and you're one that's figuring out whose fingers are those, and it's all us, completely. There's no hidden jester or prankster. It's all us. Yeah, it's all mind, big M. So you can rush there or you can take your time. It doesn't matter because it's always going to arrive and be the exact same exclamation. It's always been this way. Yeah. So, slow up your pace by believing in requirements, speed it up by dropping requirements. But when you arrive there was no longing that was valid. There was no missing because it's always been this way. Yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So if it
Look at
takes you
what
20 years,
happened. Let's say Philip, you had a dream last night, and the dream that you remember was 5 seconds of having a drink of a soda. Yeah, that was it. The night before, you were dreaming of like a 300-year epic. You were 8 different, you know, appearances. You were a cobbler, a prince, fucking this and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it take to wake up from both dreams?
Yeah. No time.
Exactly. So you would think that if the dream was of 300 years, it would take maybe 3 months at least. But no, because there is no time. And how most of us, everything we attempt to understand, and how every time we question, and every time we're trying to understand and grok something, it's got time in it, see? And yet the solution is not of time. It doesn't play by those fucking made up rules, yeah?
Yeah.
You were longing and longing and longing, and the moment that longing stops, it will be like it never happened. Never. Never. Yeah? So, did it really actually happen? No, only to you. Yeah? That's dreaming. So,
Even though
yeah.
every day you get up, the body is a little bit stiffer, a little bit sorer, a little bit.
Sure, of course. Of course. Yeah, but that's not an unusual unique experience. Tons of people are having it. Yeah. Yeah. Am I thinking about those tons of people? Usually no, I'm thinking about me. How much evidence do you need of its direction? It's self-centered. The whole story is. The whole narration. If you see the narration, take 5 minutes and listen to the head, and then compare it to the statement Hoang Po said. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. The whole narrative in one's head is based on the opposite. It believes what's perceiving is what can be perceived. It believes this is perceiving. That's how off it is. Yeah?
Yeah.
You try to correct it, you just reinforce it. Just see it's not of you. Yeah? Yeah? The day you finally seemingly take the helmet off, taking the helmet off will say that it was always able to be taken off. Always. Yeah? Yeah. All right. Nice to see you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Philip. And now Mickey. Hi, Mickey. Mickey of Madeira.
Mickey.
I don't have a question. I'm just enjoying the journey. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mickey. I'm enjoying it with you. Yes. Pleasure. I have a lot of fondness for a lot of people on these Zooms. Oh, there's Sarah. Yes. Nice to see you, Sarah. She's now back in England.
Hi, Paul. It's
I
funny,
don't
I
want
was
you to get up.
thinking.
Don't get up. Just nice to see you, honey. Yeah. And Ann, nice to see you, Ann.
See you
Ann
too.
G. Slatko, I think, had to take a nap. That's good. Anyone, any more questions? If not, we'll end soon. I'm amazed the dog hasn't done anything. It's incredible. The cat's sleeping. Now they're all wake up right now.
No hands are up.
What was there to worry about? I didn't worry. That was cool. Yeah. Anyone else? No? Let's just say goodbye then, eh?
Okay.
Let me get to the.
Oops, wait. You got
All
one.
right.
Jeffrey, you got
All
one.
right. Jesus Christ. All right. I almost got out of there. No, it's all right.
You're still muted, Jeffrey.
Oh, hi.
Who?
Oh, hi.
Oh, Jeff. Yes.
Yeah, I've been taking notes here. I am here now. No, I'm actually just doing some calligraphy while I was listening. But I was wondering about Well, I heard before that the emotions, not just emotions, kind of the I don't know, like the whole time, the whole linear thing, and the whole small self, small s self,
Can you say it what you
and
talk?
so
Hey, Jeffrey, can you repeat the emotion part? It went. I lost the audio.
yeah, sure. Sure. So the emotions is not just the thoughts, but also emotions are, they have a momentum of keeping you kind of in a kind of a way, kind of keeping you out of the now and into like a linear thinking about the future and the past. And I heard that it takes a
Yeah,
long time.
that's not you. That's not you that they keep out. It's a you.
Yeah, it's you, a version of an imagined or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. So this is the see the emotions are claimed, and then it's implied by the emotion that they can take you out of something that they can't. Yes.
Yeah, and since hearing that, and the person said that it takes can take several years to dissolve that kind of momentum of that, the emotions having that effect of taking you out of your actual self. I
Are
think my
you?
mind
Are you?
maybe,
Are you? Are you? Yeah.
yeah, you,
See,
and
the
I
emotions
think
don't, and there is no you to be taken anywhere. That's the good news, just to put it out there.
right, yeah,
In dreaming, you feel like you go somewhere. Factually, you don't. In
yeah,
dreaming, it feels like you were close and now you're far. Factually, you're not. Yeah? It's important to keep the understanding because the language will nonchalantly keep implying the you it's stating is you. Yeah? And it ain't. It's a you. Yeah? It's a manufactured idea of a someone, and then there's a lot of meaning given to it. Yeah. So yes, everything has momentum. Yeah. But let's say emotion has a momentum, but my emotion would have more momentum. Yeah. Let's say thoughts have a certain momentum. My thoughts can go on for 40 years. Yeah. Let's say uh, money. Money has a momentum. Let's say that momentum is I wish everyone here to have a lot of money, but I don't want anyone to have my money. Yeah. So this idea of my or the assumed ownership of what comes after emotions, thoughts, and this and that is where a lot of the meaning is given to the emotions and the thoughts and stuff like that. What we are and what's dreaming is breathing life into the emotions. The emotions don't have any life of their own. Hmm? There's a breathing of life into the emotions. The emotions don't have life of their own.
Jeffrey, did you try and say something? You're muted.
yeah. Sorry about that. I had to mute for a sec. Um, yeah, okay. I like the metaphor of it being like a play where actors in a play that have forgotten we are actually we're not the actor.
Yeah.
I don't know, that occurred to me at some point during the talk for some reason. I can't remember
Yes.
why.
See, it doesn't minimize the acting, but the acting is giving a lot of meaning concerning the idea of being the actor. Yes. So you travel lighter through the acting, but but it's not the actor that's traveling lighter. Yes? you see you're not the actor. That's what allows you to travel lighter through the acting. You get it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So,
just here now about I'm just thinking here now about the fact that it's ironic that it's so easy. It doesn't require any effort. There's a saying that it takes less effort than blinking an eye to be because you already are here. You already are
yes.
now.
See,
I mean,
and then you get,
yeah.
yeah, then what comes up will be the value system of the mental state. Did you ever hear of transcendental meditation?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So I heard what in the beginning when it was brought over here, they were offering it for free and no one was coming. As soon as they started to charge for it, then everyone wanted to learn transcendental meditation. Isn't it
Wow.
weird? But it isn't weird. People feel like they've got to do something, yeah, to earn something. That kind of currency doesn't play in being. Yeah? In being, none of that applies. And you can't do it, and you
There's
can't
no
do and
doership.
have yourself into being. Yeah?
Yeah, there's
So
no
yes,
doership
people find
yeah, what I was going to say, but in just
in
being
recovery, we
established
have a
or
way of life you're living under, and you'll be placed in a position of neutrality with no thought or effort on your part. Yeah? It's a beautiful statement.
Oh, you're
So,
breaking up.
with no thought or effort
yeah,
on your
I love how
part,
there's no effort.
something.
Is it Paul or me that's frozen? Oops. Guess it was Paul.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's him. Okay, I thought it was my connection.
I got cut off.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
That was a beautiful thing I just said, so we should end it there.
Yeah, okay, well, thanks a lot.
Hey, Jeffrey, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope to see you again. Come back.
Okay, see you next time.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Am I there, Mike, or what? What happened?
No, and Jeffrey is flashing.
Yeah, you're there.
Let me see. Let me take off Jeffrey's pin. How do I do that now? Oops. His controls are gone.
All right, I see Glenbro Driscoll.
Spotlight.
She's frozen in a very pensive look. Oh, there she is. She's come alive. Nice to see you, Glenda. John K. As always. Yeah. Oh, there's Helen. Yes, Helen. Yeah. Johannes, as always, pleasure. Kerry Klein, pleasure. Macaulay, always a pleasure, honey. Seriously. Walter from the Netherlands, most of the times it's a pleasure, not always. We got Henk from Amsterdam, always good. We got Jeff and Laurie. I don't see Laurie, but there's Jeff. Nice to see you, Jeff. Fritz is in Los Angeles, but he's went to the mountain, the holy mountain. Kenneth, nice to see you in Toronto. Gary C., the man who lives in the corner, very good. We got Tariq from Egypt, always a pleasure, Tariq. Yes. Mike Servini, he's resurrected himself. He went underground for a while and he's back. Nice to see you, Mike. We got Natalie. Natalie, I don't know where you are. You're not in Costa Rica now, no? Somewhere. Yeah. Keith is in Winnemucca, aka Boise. All right. Nice to see you, Keith. Yeah. But you can take Keith out of Winnemucca, but you can't take Winnemucca out of Keith. And we got Sonia. I don't know where Sonia is, but nice to see you, Sonia.
Portugal.
Verena, thank you for your donation. Nice to see you, Verena. Always a pleasure. Where's the fire? The fire of Verena never goes out. Yes. Matthew. Always good to see you, Matthew, especially when you're smiling. It's good. Bernard. How are you, Bernard? Nice to see you. We got Philip from Brisbane. Pleasure, Philip. Stefan, as always. Yep. Stuart from the UK. We got Barbara and Roman. Roman is the one, he's representing Barbara and Roman. Always thanks, Roman, for everything. Mickey, it's nice to hear you today. The matriarch of Madeira. Sarah, feeling super bummed out she's not in Greece right now. Zlatko, I can't come over. I got the dog and the cat, so I gotta watch them. Chris, I feel like my mother must have felt when I used to dump my dog off at her house and take off for 3 months. All right, Chris, nice to see you. And as always, we got Nina. Nina, you're okay? Yeah?
I'm great. Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, honey. Good to see you. We got James from New Zealand, a Kiwi himself. Nice to see you, James. He's taken a vow of silence the last week or so. Jeffrey B. I don't know where he went, but there's Sundara Brava or Jack or whatever. I don't know. He's someone. There's Jeffrey B. again. Glenda O'Driscoll, a lovely lass from Ireland. Sagar, I dread the call I'm going to get from him sooner or later. Let me see who else is here. Oh, this is a heavy. I don't know if I'm going to do this justice. Balas Subramania. I gave it a shot.
Thank you, Paul.
Nice to meet you. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Christine Youngstrom. Christine Youngstrom. Last time I said Christine from Youngstown, but it's Youngstrom. Joseph.
That right.
We got Rob Hearn. Sabeth from Germany. Trisha, Lorraine, and Mark. Hey, I just want to thank everyone for showing up, and
Hey,
it's
Paul,
an honor, really. Yeah.
Paul, a square just identified as Zoom user wanted me to convey. I would be very grateful if you could convey my gratitude to him. He is a great man. Thank you. To you.
Hey, Paul.
Tell them the check is in the mail.
Okay.
Nice words. Well, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to see everybody, really.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
This is Christina from Hungary.
Christina.
Oh, Christina. Oh, wow.
Hey, I just cannot be seen, you see?
Oh, it's great to hear you, honey. All's well?
Hi. Oh, I have a broken leg, so it's midnight here, and I can sit here forever to watch you.
Broken leg, honey. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Is that going to stop you from traveling for a little while?
Exactamente.
Hey, well, we have a lot of Zooms for you, honey.
Yeah, I just recognize it. I didn't know it's happening, so I'm so happy.
Oh, yeah, we're here Wednesdays and Saturdays on the non-duality, and then Tuesday, Thursdays on, and we're going to start a new Tuesday. We'll be on the website. Tuesday morning before the recovery, we'll have a non-duality thing for some group.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
All
I
right.
mean, your website is very good now.
Eh?
Your website is really good.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that unbelievable? Yeah, that's from Dimitri and Julie. and Michael. Yeah, they've done a great job. Yeah, very,
you.
very impressed. All right,
Very
thanks,
nice
honey.
to see you. Love you.
Yes, very nice to hear from you, honey. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
looking forward to seeing you live soon.
Yeah, yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, bye-bye.
Ciao.
She's comes to a lot of live meetings from Hungary. She lives here too in Berkeley. Hey, nice to see everybody again, and take care of yourselves and whatever.
Yep.
Yes, Fritz is back. Nice to see you, Fritz. See you later. Mike,
Thanks,
see
Paul.
you.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.